सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मच्छ्रीगुरुपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Jai Gurudev Bela. You can start from verse 30, I think, from chant for chanting.
अस्तु हरि ओम्। ॐ श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अष्टादशोऽध्यायः मोक्षसंन्यासयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च कार्याकार्ये भयाभये बन्धं मोक्षं च या वेत्ति बुद्धि सा पार्थ सात्विकी। यया धर्ममधर्मं च कार्यं चाकार्यमेव च अयथावत् प्रजानाति बुद्धि सा पार्थ राजसी। अधर्मं धर्ममिति या मन्यते तमसावृता सर्वार्थान् विपरीतांश बुद्धि सा पार्थ तामसी। धृत्या यया धारयते मनः प्राणेन्द्रियक्रियाः योगेन व्यभिचारिण्या धृति सा पार्थ सात्विकी। यया तु धर्मकामार्थान् धृत्या धारयतेऽर्जुन प्रसङ्गेन फलाकाङ्क्षी धृति सा पार्थ राजसी। यया स्वप्नं भयं शोकं विषादं मदमेव च न विमुञ्चति दुर्मेधा धृति सा पार्थ तामसी। सुखं त्विदानीं त्रिविधं शृणु मे भरतर्षभा अभ्यासाद्रमते यत्र दुःखान्तं च निगच्छति यतदग्रे विषमिव परिणामे मृतोपमम् तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम् आत्मबुद्धिप्रसादजम्। विषयेन्द्रियसंयोगाद्यत्तदग्रे मृतोपमम् परिणामे विषमिव तत्सुखं राजसं स्मृतम्। यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहनमात्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम् न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः सत्वं प्रकृतिजैर्मुक्तं यदेभिः स्यात् त्रिभिर्गुणैः ब्राह्मणक्षत्रियविशां शूद्राणां च परन्तप कर्माणि प्रविभक्तानि स्वभावप्रकृतिरेव प्रभवैर्गुणैः शमोदमस्तपः शौचं क्षान्तिरार्जवमेव च ज्ञानं विज्ञानमास्तिक्यं ब्रह्मकर्म स्वभावजम् शौर्यं तेजो धृतिर्दा शौर्यं तेजो धृतिर्दाक्ष्यं युद्धे चाप्यपलायनम् दानमीश्वरभावश्च क्षात्रं कर्म स्वभावजम् कृषिगौरक्षवाणिज्यं वैश्यकर्म स्वभावजम् परिचर्यात्मकं कर्म शूद्रस्यापि स्वभावजम् स्वे स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः स्वकर्म निरतः सिद्धिं स्वकर्मनिरतः सिद्धिं यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु um, Mrinalji, could you please guide me which shloka are we in yesterday?
We
Uh,
didn't go further. Whatever shloka you read, I think. No, the next shloka I did.
yeah, so should I repeat what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
start from?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
That only one paragraph we read, I think.
yeah, okay, yeah. So we are looking at the three gunas. Yeah, we completed three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. And as it was mentioned in the previous shloka, that no existent being, either on the earth or furthermore in heaven, among the gods, who is free from these three gunas, born of Prakriti, nature. I will just, yeah, kindly mute yourself if by mistake you are unmuted, please. The human beings also may have one of these three gunas predominant, giving us four basic possibilities. But there again, there are millions of shades of differences from the standpoint of the gunas, and also on the basis of karma, we have four groups. The division on the basis of guna is something universal, while division on the basis of karma is a system conceived of by the Vedas for one's growth. This is the division that is going to be told now. It has to be interpreted according to the current society. But in the context of the Gita, the qualities and tasks of a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, and a Shudra are binding. A Brahmana could be a Brahmana from the standpoint of his karma or from the standpoint of his gunas. Ideally, they coincide, and assuming that they do, Bhagavan is going to discuss here first the guna, then the karma of each of the four. This is applicable to a society which has this system of division of labor, but the division on the basis of quality, guna, is universal. Even in India, the division according to duty is largely gone. Only some vestiges remain. A Kshatriya can be a professor, or a Vaishya by birth may be the commander of the army. We even have Brahmana in leather business. So today that system is gone. But in the vision of the Gita, it is still there. So I think this also was covered. Shall I quickly read these all because, or should I go to the? Did we do Manana also, Mrinalji, about this, whatever this whatever was completed?
I
Manana
think
was over.
you can read once. That will be nice.
Okay, धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद. Yeah. Shankara's introduction to the next section. Shankara introduces this fourfold division of people on the basis of guna and karma by saying that samsara, a life of becoming, which is characterized by activity, the causes for the activity, and the result of action, has been told in the 15th chapter by the illustration of the tree with its roots upward. Urdhva Mula. Because of the result of actions, there is the birth of a body. And because of that, there is activity which has a result that again leads to the birth of another body. Naturally, this is samsara and it is in the form of three gunas because all these consist only of sattva, rajas, and tamas in different proportions. For whom is this samsara? It is only for the Atma because samsara does not exist without I, Atma. Though it is not the cause, Atma is the basis for samsara. How can Satchidananda Atma be the basis for its opposite, samsara? Well, the samsara is superimposed on Atma by avidya, ignorance. That I am a doer and the enjoyer of the results of actions is purely ignorance. And this ignorance is the root of all samsara. And it is undesirable because it is not moksha. In the previous verse, we saw that all beings are subject to these three gunas. And this is anartha, it is samsara. Even if you become a celestial, a deva, you would be within samsara because you would not be outside the three gunas. Further, it was very clearly pointed out earlier in the 15th chapter by illustrating samsara as a tree whose roots are above, and by saying that this samsara has to be felt only by the acts of detachment. Asanga shastrena chitva. This means ascertaining.
Sorry, Bella, it is Asanga Shastrena. Shastra here is the
Oh,
sword.
oh, oh, हाँ हाँ
Asanga
I
Shastrena.
हाँ क्षम्यताम् असंग शस्त्रेण चित्वा. हाँ. This means ascertaining clearly what is not the self anatma and knowing what is atma. This means ascertaining clearly what is not the self anatma and knowing what is atma. Then one should gain that end, gaining which there is no return. Tatah padam tat परिमार्गितव्यम परिमार्गितव्यम यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयाः भूयाः ततः पदं तत् परिमार्गितव्यम यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः. Everybody is under the spell of these three gunas, and wherever you go, you will be within them. If you want to get rid of samsara, you have to get rid of these three gunas because samsara consists of these three qualities sattva, rajas, and tamas. As long as you are under the spell of them, you cannot get rid of samsara. Either you will have a golden shekel called a satvika shekel, or a silver shekel called a rajasa shekel, or some big iron shekel called a Tamasa shackle. Yeah, it must be big iron shackle called a Tamasa shackle. There is no possibility of getting released from the samsara by bringing about a change. I can only change the shackle. I can change my form from this form to that of a deva, for example, and then have some celestial complexes, such as that one has golden wings. I don't have wings at all. Release from samsara is untenable by any of the means which we know. And therefore, how to get released from this samsara consisting of three gunas has to be told. For this, a new section begins. The vision of the entire Gita Shastra has to be summed up also. For this much alone, Shankara says, is the meaning of all the Vedas and Smriti. And this has to be pursued by those people who are interested in the Purushartha, which is moksha. For this purpose alone, divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra are told. These divisions are connected, of course, to the gunas, but at the same time, it is a new topic. So it is very beautifully mentioned by Swamiji that we have to go beyond even these three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. They are like different forms of shackle, which will not go unless we go beyond the three gunas. That can happen only through knowledge. Jnanena bhavishyati. Mhm. I think you must have done the manana, right? Asanga shastrena chitva. You can only cut that tree by the acts of detachment, and that is by knowledge. Should I read further or you want to have some manana? I assume that it was done yesterday. Okay. The duties of the four varnas according to gunas. Brahmana kshatriya visham shudranam cha parantapa कर्माणि प्रविभक्तानि स्वभाव प्रभवैर्गुणैः Parantapa, O scorcher of enemies, Arjuna. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Visham. Of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. Shudranamcha, and of the Shudras. Swabhava Prabhavaihi, born of Swabhava. Ishvara's Maya, one's nature, and one's karma. Gunaihi, as per the qualities, karmani, the duties, pravibhaktani are divided. Parantapa, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vishama, Kshudranam cha, Svabhava Prabhavaihi, Gunaihi, Karmani, Pravibhaktani. The duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, Arjuna, are divided according to the qualities born of Svabhava. Ishvara's Maya, one's nature and one's karma. I repeat, the duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, Arjuna, are divided according to the qualities born of Swabhava. Ishvara's Maya, one's nature, and one's karma. This is the division of duties for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and also for the Shudras. While Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are all listed in one compound, the Shudras are mentioned separately. Why is it so? Shankara says that although All of these are classes and could be included in the same compound. The Shudras are considered unqualified for Vedic study and are therefore mentioned separately. The separate mention could be purely because of the meter or because of this convention that is pointed out by Shankara. The duties of each one of these groups is different from those of the others. The duties of a Brahmana are different from the duties of all others, as are the duties of a Kshatriya and so on. They are mutually distinct from each other. How are they divided? Originally, it was on the basis of gunas, which is how it is described here. And these gunas are Svabhava Prabhava, born of Svabhava, which Shankara says is Ishvara's Maya. So they are divided on the basis of gunas, which are the three qualities of Ishvara's Upadhi. That Upadhi, which we call Maya or Prakriti, is the cause for these qualities. What are the duties, karmas for one in whom sattva is predominant or for the one in whom rajas or tamas is predominant? If sattva is predominant, there is a natural duty prescribed for him. If rajas is predominant, one has to do the karma prescribed for him with a proper attitude and he will become sattvika. The one in whom sattva is predominant. If a person has tamas as the predominant guna, he has to do his karma with the proper attitude and become rajasika initially and finally sattvika. It is a method to grow into a more sattvika, mature person. In this way, everyone is meant to become sattvika. A person who is sattvika is a brahmana by guna. But that alone is not enough. Having thus become a brahmana by guna, then one can accomplish what is to be accomplished. Then Shankara gives another meaning for svabhava, one's nature. One's nature, svabhava, is the cause for the given activities. And the cause for that nature is the proportion of the gunas. The disposition of a Brahmana is born of a predominance of sattva, while that of a Kshatriya is due to a predominance of rajas, with sattva as the secondary. A Vaishya will also have a predominance of rajas, but for him, tamas is secondary. And a Shudra will have a predominance of tamas with rajas as secondary. This is the real definition of a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra because it is based on the disposition of the person and it is universal. Which society does not have these four types of people? How do you know whether a person has sattva, rajas, or tamas predominant? His behavior gives some indication. When sattva is predominant, there is tranquility, composure. Where there is a predominance of rajas, there is leadership. Wherever you put the person who has rajas, predominant with sattva second, he will be a natural organizer. Then, where there is selfishness, greed, etc., we know that Rajas is predominant with Tamas secondary. And where there is delusion, dullness, etc., Tamas is predominant. The gunas are the causes of these dispositions, and the dispositions in turn prompt certain types of activity. So beautifully analyzed. The sattva, rajas, and tamas as gunas or Ishvara's maya, also we can say, and then it becomes like a prakriti. So when there is sattva as predominance, it is like I think this we had already seen in chapter 15 also, I think. Should we do manana? Because knowing one's swabhava is so very important. The swarupa is Satchidan. Yeah.
Can we read it again once more?
Yeah, sure. You mean from the shloka, right? The 41?
Yeah, this.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So it is from the verse 41. Tatparyam, I am reading again. The duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, Arjuna, are divided according to the qualities born of Swabhava, Ishvara's Maya, one's nature, and one's karma. This is the division of duties for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and also for the Shudras. While Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are all listed in one compound, the Shudras are mentioned separately. Why is it so? Shankara says that although all of these are classes and could be included in the same compound, the Shudras are considered unqualified for Vedic study and are therefore mentioned separately. The separate mention could be purely because of the meter or because of this convention that is pointed out by Shankara. The duties of each one of these groups is different from those of the others. The duties of a Brahmana are different from the duties of all others, as are the duties of a Kshatriya, and so on. They are mutually distinct from each other. How are they divided? Originally, it was on the basis of gunas, which is how it is described here. And these gunas are Swabhava, Prabhava. Let me just read the shloka once. Brahmana kshatriya visham Shudraणां च परन्तप कर्माणि प्रविभक्तानि स्वभावप्रभवैर्गुणैः स्वभावप्रभवैर्गुणैः. So it may be Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, meter also he said, no? Why Shudras are separated. Okay.
Go to the verse, please, once more, where Shudra is kept. We'll see.
Yeah.
Brahmana, Kshatriya.
Visham.
So he has not grouped in that group of Shudra.
Yeah. So the reason he has given, it may be because of the meter also.
Meter also,
that,
yes.
Yeah. The chanda, maybe because of the chanda, or maybe some other reason.
Can you read the 2 3 lines where it is written why it is separate?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear.
Nobody could hear you, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better than before, but still, yeah.
Can you read that 2, 3 lines? Why it is different in
Yeah,
different?
yeah. I will read once again. Yeah. I will read once again. The duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, Arjuna, are divided according to qualities born of Swabhava, Ishvara's Maya, one's nature, and one's karma. So, the Swabhava is a combination of Ishvara's Maya, one's nature, and one's karma. This is the division of duties for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and also for the Shudras. While Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are all listed in one compound, the Shudras are mentioned separately. Why is it so? Shankara says that although all of these are classes and could be included in the same compound, the Shudras are considered unqualified for Vedic study and are therefore mentioned separately. The separate mention could be purely because of the meter or because of this convention that is pointed out by Shankara. The duties of each one of these groups is different from those of the others. The duties of a Brahmana are different from the duties of all others, as are the duties of a Kshatriya, and so on. They are mutually distinct from each other. How are they divided? Originally, it was on the basis of gunas, which is how it is described here. All and these gunas are Swabhava Prabhava, born of Swabhava, which Shankara says is Ishvara's Maya. So they are divided on the basis of gunas, which are the three qualities of Ishvara's Upadhi. That Upadhi, which we call Maya or Prakriti, is the cause for these qualities. What are the duties, karmas for one in whom sattva is predominant or for the one in whom rajas or tamas is predominant? If sattva is predominant, there is a natural duty prescribed for him. If rajas is predominant, one has to do the karma prescribed for him with a proper attitude and he will become sattvika, the one in whom sattva is predominant. If a person has tamas as the predominant guna, he has to do his karma with the proper attitude and become rajasika initially and finally sattvika. It is a method to grow into a more sattvika, mature person. In this way, everyone is meant to become sattvika. A person who is sattvika is a brahmana by guna. But that alone is not enough. Having thus become a brahmana by guna, then one can accomplish what is to be accomplished. Then Shankaras gives another meaning for swabhava, one's nature. One's nature, swabhava, is the cause for the given activities. And the cause for that nature is the proportion of the gunas. The disposition of a Brahmana is born of a predominance of sattva, while that of a Kshatriya is due to a predominance of rajas, with sattva as the secondary. A Vaishya will also have a predominance of rajas, but for him, tamas is secondary. And a Shudra will have a predominance of tamas with rajas as secondary. This is the real definition of a brahmana or a kshatriya or a vaishya or a shudra, because it is based on the disposition of the person and it is universal. Which society does not have these four types of people? How do you know whether a person has sattva, rajas, or tamas predominant? His behavior gives some indication. When sattva is predominant, there is tranquility, composure. Where there is a predominance of rajas, there is leadership. Wherever you put the person who has rajas predominant with sattva second, he will be a natural organizer. Then, where there is selfishness, greed, etc., we know that rajas is predominant with tamas secondary. And where there is delusion, dullness, etc., tamas is predominant. The gunas are the causes of these dispositions, and the dispositions in turn prompt certain types of activity. So there is a whole chain of actions which is causing the whole samsara, birth and death. So very beautiful. Should I read further, or because it is about prarabdha now?
Yeah, I think so. It is. So, because of Ishvara's Maya, there is this the combination, permutation of the three gunas happens. And because of that, there are some who are predominant in sattva, predominant in rajas, predominant in tamas. Again, all this is just a superimposition on Brahma because of avidya, because of this Maya upadhi. Right? So from there, the journey of evolution is for all those who are tamas to become rajas initially, from there to become sattva. So everybody has the potential to become sattva, to become predominant in sattva. And that is the journey of evolution. And then based on what is predominant, there are this fourfold division. Fourfold division is actually based on three aspects. One is the swabhava, one is the karma, and there was another thing that was mentioned. Based on the gunas, right? Based on the swabhava, the guna, and the karma. I'm not sure whether the swabhava and guna mean the same there, in which case it will be just based on these two classifications.
Sabhava comes from guna and karma.
Yeah, can you just go to that the beginning of that paragraph, Bela, and just read that one more time?
Yeah,
That was not very clear.
Only here the highlighted point. I will read once again the whole. Gunas are swabhava prabhava, born of swabhava, which Shastra says is Ishvara's Maya. Yeah, I will read once again. The duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, Arjuna, are divided according to the qualities born of Swabhava, that is Ishvara's Maya, one's nature, and one's karma.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
okay,
the
Bela. That's okay. You don't need to read the whole paragraph. We've done that already twice. So it is born of swabhava and karma. And out of swabhava comes the gunas. These gunas are swabhava prabhava.
Yes,
Swabhava
yes.
prabhava. Born of swabhava. So it starts off, swabhava is Ishvara's Maya. And how much sattva each one is born with is again that Maya Janitam. So there maybe,
Jai
yeah,
Gurudev, Brahmaraji, can you come back to what you said just now?
about
Swabhava and Guna. You said Swabhava is because of the Gunas are because of the Swabhava? Is that
yeah.
how it is? Oh. And then how the Swabhava comes according to your karmas?
So bhava is the impressions of your past karmas. They are
So
what you were doing.
it should be because of the karmas you will have certain kind of gunas predominant, and because of that you will have certain kind of swabhava. This was my understanding.
Right. Yeah, you have
So when you
that
look at
subhava.
the basis of creation, the start of creation, it is because of Maya, because of avidya, that the whole world is created. And the world is trigunatmika, has all the three gunas.
But
Of
as
the,
a jiva, my package is different, right?
that is what I'm saying. So that how each one's package is different in the beginning is again, trying to figure out how each one is different in the beginning is going to be a unfruitful exercise, because all that is basically only a superimposition, which is not true. It is only an illusion. Born of Maya, isn't it?
Yeah, Ishvara's Upadhi.
Ishvara's Upadhi has got these permutation combination of these three different colors of Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas. So in that splash of colors, there are some who have predominance of Sattva, predominance of Rajas and Tamas. And that is how they are, the first classification into these four is based on that. And accordingly, their karma is also. And then the karma actually feeds into the, I think that's what we'll see in the next verse.
So because
But
of
it would be interesting to know how. Yeah, again,
Yeah, exactly. I know where
Pandakarika.
you're getting at. It is like asking which came first, the egg or the
Yeah,
chick,
yeah.
the egg or
And
the hen. So
correct.
it is
And
circular
sometimes,
actually. The whole
yes,
thing is
yes.
circular. So you can't pinpoint and say, okay, this is the start. It
Very
is
true, very true.
it is something to wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
there
really
is
to
no
wonder.
beginning, no end.
Mhm.
so
Because
so
during Pandakarika discussions, we had this again. Like, why would any jiva would pick up tamas or rajas when those vibrations would come? Why would any? Because there is no beginning, we don't even know now.
so it is
Maya or Ishvara's
It is
Upadhi. Because of that, it gave that gunas. Is it that?
because of
Yeah,
Ishvara's
because of
Maya, because of Ishvara's Maya, we have these trigunatmik, like these gunas. We have these three gunas. We are born because of that, and because you have a certain swabhava, we read no swabhava prabhava. Swabhava prabhava. We are born of this swabhava because we have those vrittis, those impressions of the past, which decide which gunas would be more like highlighted in this janma. So that that would be our swabhava. But then as we are governed with the Maya, then we will do our karmas according to our swabhava. So then again that gunas, uh, they will we'll be doing all our actions according to the swabhava which we are born with. So again that karma will be happening in the same categories, rajas, tamas and sattvic. So it started also with the birth took also because of this Maya, and then again we are doing our action because of this Maya, this gunas. Whatever is higher, whatever is your nature swabhava, you will do your karma according to that. This is what I understood. I don't know, like.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask, like, when we are talking this last paragraph which we just read, which society does not have these 4 type of people. So in this, when the sattva is predominant, there is tranquility, composure. Where there is predominance of rajas, there is leadership. And whenever you put the person who has rajas predominant with sattva second, he will be a natural organizer. So I was just looking for an example, like how, Adi Shankaracharya, he was a very learned person. He was a sattvic soul. He next to God, I would say. So though he was a sattvic, but that rajas in him promoted him to travel all over India to establish re-establish the Hindu culture, the Vedic culture. So, though being sattvic, he had that time he had that rajas predominant with him. Just reading this line, a thought came that he was a natural organizer. He was organizing the things with demand to time, like what the time demanded at that time, what was needed. So though he was sattvic, but that rajas was higher in him. So that is why he could accomplish and establish so many mutt, you can say, all over India in various directions of India. I just got this thought, so I just wanted to share. Yeah.
Which is true, and which is why even Gurudev, it is because he has the rajas element, he is doing what he's doing. And what is the way to evolve from tamas to rajas is to do your duty with that karma yoga attitude. Then those that are tamas can move up to rajas. And then those that are rajas can move up to being sattva, being sattvic.
Yeah, that in Guruji's chart, it shows he has a Mahapurush Yoga with the Mangal, Mars Mahapurush Yoga he has. And that's why so much of activity is happening. He has 3 Mahapurush Yogas. One of that is with Mangal, one is with the Brahaspati. That is the Vivek Buddhi is, whatever is the best he'll pick up. Mahapurush Yoga. And I think the Mangal is, Ruchak Yoga. I'm not very sure. I don't forgot. But he has got 3 Mahapurush Yogas.
So he was born with so much of sattva, and for living in this world, he has to have a bit of tamas also, so that his body can rest, and then he had rajas so that he could expand this spirituality around, like in the whole world, so that rajas, tamas and sattva all in definite proportions is necessary. Yeah. Reading this, you feel so enlightened. Like maybe we'll not get enlightened this life, but reading all this, like all Gyan Chakshu, they get stimulated.
So true, yeah. Very
nice.
Real wow feeling we get. Real wow. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, when
like you have
Kavitaji
that
was saying about saying about that he must be having that rajasic guna dominant. Uh, are they into guna or they are gunatit? Because he was enlightened, right? So it was purely out of uh, awareness he must
As
be
long as
working,
they
right?
are, they are gunatit to an extent. But then, as long as they're in the physical body, they are influenced by the gunas. He also sleeps. No, it doesn't mean
and
he does not sleep.
yeah,
So
he is living with his body, so he will need all the three gunas. Otherwise, yeah. But
He
he
is
is
in
not
his
under the
swabhava.
influence of
But
not
they
under
are
the
in his
influence of the
control,
gunas.
right? They
Yeah.
are in his control, not unlike us.
yeah,
They
correct.
are in his control.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that is the nature, that is the dharma of Prakriti. That means it is standard laws. So we have to, I think that is Prakriti, that is Maya. We have to go through it. Only we have to go over it, go through it and above it, para. So we have to cross this dharma of Prakriti. Then only through the knowledge. So I was listening today. So we have a group of Art of Living. They broadcast the old videos of Guruji. I think especially in the 1995 time he had given, and that they have been recorded, and those they play. And today's topic was karma and reincarnation. It was really wonderful. And I have the transcript, means they give the transcript. We cannot have the video. I think we can read that. There we will understand how the nature is, how very nice from the basic, and then how the reincarnation, how of everything happens, and karma and all that. And that is the basic. I think I will post it in the group, the transcript. Once we can read it also go through it, because it is long. He has answered the answers also. That I will post it. I think we'll go through it and have one class for that. We can read through it. It's a really wonderful. Then we can get a clear picture of all this. Based on that, it picks these all. Wonderful it is. I think is relevant. I'll post it in the group today. Jai Gurudev.
धन्यवाद सुरेश जी, धन्यवाद.
Jai Gurudev.
I think we can read further.
Yeah, okay. Shankara gives yet another meaning for Swabhava, that is Prarabdha, where the problem all started. Why should one be born into a Brahmana family? There must be some karma standing in his account that determines exactly where he should be born, why he is born into a situation where he is going to be called upon to perform certain duties. I read once again. Shankara gives yet another meaning for Swabhava, that is Prarabdha, where the problem all started. Why should one be born into a Brahmana family? There must be some karma standing in his account that determines exactly where he should be born, why he is born into a situation where he is going to be called upon to perform certain duties. In a duty-based system, duties exist and prarabdha karma determines where you are born in that system. I read once again the last line. In a duty-based system, duties exist and prarabdha karma determines where you are born in that system. Unless you believe in karma, you cannot follow these things properly. If the system is not there, like in America, you do not have a problem of duty-based classification. You consider only guna. But where there is this system, prarabdha karma is applicable. Duties are defined and each one has to perform his duty. Lord Krishna has said earlier in the 3rd chapter, Swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayavah. Bhayavah. Paradharmo bhayavah. Even it is better to die doing one's own duty than being alive performing someone else's duties, because another's duty is fraught with fear. There is a footnote that is from chapter 3 verse 35. I will just read chapter 3 verse 35. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः. Better is one's own duty, though devoid of merit, than the duty of another well discharged. Better is death in one's own duty, the duty of another is fraught with fear, is productive of positive danger. So that was verse 35. If such a system is available, karma will be governing the birth of a child into a family where he has to fulfill certain duties to exhaust certain karmas. The gunas that manifest in the form of certain dispositions are because of svabhava, one's own previously gathered karma. Even where the system of varna ashrama dharma is not operative, we can take it that one is born into a situation according to one's prarabdha karma. Whatever situation one is born into, one has to change to gain the disposition of a brahmana. A person may be a kshatriya by birth and by duty, but rajas need not be predominant. He may be a soldier, but he may be a brahmana in his disposition. That is what Krishna is saying here to Arjuna. Your duty with proper attitude and you are a brahmana. By changing your duty, you do not become a brahmana. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing is good enough to become a brahmana. It is not a change of place or change of duty, but the change of attitude that changes a person. That is the whole contention, as we will see now. I repeat the last paragraph. Whatever situation one is born into, one has to change to gain the disposition of a brahmana. A person may be a kshatriya by birth and by duty, but rajas need not be predominant. He may be a soldier, but he may be a brahmana in his disposition. That is what Krishna is saying here to Arjuna. Do your duty with a proper attitude and you are a brahmana. But by changing your duty, you do not become a brahmana. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing is good enough to become a brahmana. It is not a change of place or change of duty, but the change of attitude that changes a person. That is the whole contention, as we will see now. So we have to get that disposition of a Brahmana, which is Sattvic Guna, as a predominance. Whatever work we are doing, whatever place we are, we have to be, it is so beautifully analyzed that it is not by birth you are Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya, as it was previously also mentioned, but by your karma and by your disposition. You become Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. And I think we will get more understanding once we go into the depth of each guna. Anyone wants to share or anyone wants me to read for again? Just let me know before we go to the next verse.
One question I have, like we just read, no? Lord Krishna said, Swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. So in that, even it is better to die doing one's own duty than being alive performing someone else's duties, because another's duty is fraught with fear. So is it this fear is because of you are not performing your duty in a dharmic or 100% giving 100%, or is it meaning something else? The last paragraph says that,
I think it is, if you take the example of the piston in a machine, the piston gets bored of doing what it's doing and it wants to do the work of, say, its neighbor, something else, maybe a nut or a bolt, which is not doing anything. The nut and the bolt just stay where they are, but the piston keeps moving. So if the piston thinks, you know what, this duty is not nice, I'm the only one doing all of this, so I want to become a nut and a bolt. So that becomes paradharma for the piston. Whereas the piston is continually doing its duty, because this is what my duty is, with the attitude saying, this is what I'm supposed to do and I will do it happily.
so it is the proper attitude with which you are doing. Yeah. Otherwise you will have that fear. Right. Yeah. I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Otherwise, there, see, the whole creation is working in such a beautiful equilibrium. Each one is supposed to do their respective duties. Like the bud does not say, okay, I don't want to bloom into a flower. I want to remain a leaf, because the leaf remains longer for longer time. Whereas as a flower, I'll wither within 1 or 2 days. They don't do that. In nature, everything goes according to their respective allotted nature and their characteristics. So similarly, we have to identify what our own swadharma is. So basically, doing your ordained duties. That becomes one understanding of swadharma, but there is, I think, a deeper understanding of swadharma. Manana said, your swadharma is actually Satchidananda. So anything you do towards getting, towards realizing that becomes your swadharma. That's a subtler meaning of swadharma. Anything else you do, that is, you're going towards samsara, becomes paradharma, becomes fraught with fear.
Swami Suryapada also said, no, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, chapter 3, that if you don't know what is your swadharma, or then you see where you are positioned right now your role and position right now, that is your Swadharma for this birth. That's what I vaguely remember. That's what he said.
Yeah, very beautiful explanation. The proper attitude is so very important. Whatever we are doing, in whichever situation we are in. But when the attitude is proper, then there will be no fear. When that Ishwararpana buddhi and that prasad buddhi comes, then I think that life becomes very easy and that Swarupa will be recognized, that it is Satchitananda only. Yeah, should I read further or?
I just wanted to dharma, which he is saying dharma. So dharma is like broadly, if we can say, dharma of at the level of mind, at the level of body, at the it would be at the level of everything, no? Like if I do not
Yes,
perform my this thing, that my if I'm not following my discipline of life, then I'll be doing a dharma with my body, right? So, and if I am not doing the jobs which I am assigned, then again I am doing a dharma. So it would be related to like everything, no? Dharma.
correct.
Yeah, we can proceed, I think.
Mrinalji, if you are comfortable, would you mind taking over? I can read for some time, but if you can take over, I will really appreciate.
I'm little away from home. I'm here
Yeah.
walking. Is Sumaji there? Can she do that? Otherwise, it will take at least 15 minutes to reach home.
Oh, no problem. Sumaji, are you there? I can continue sharing the screen. Can you read? Could you please read?
I can read if you can share the screen, or if
Yeah.
Somaji can share the screen, then you will be free. Like,
I just get to my computer.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
share
no
the
problem.
screen.
I can read till you come back. Yeah, no problem. I can read for five more minutes. No problem. Yeah. Okay. So I will just read once again.
Can I just request something from the whole group? If any one of us is ready to take on from Bela at about 6 o'clock, half an hour, the last half an hour, if you're ready beforehand, then I think it will be good. It'll be a smooth transition. If any of you is able to, please come forward and mention so that it can be effected smoothly.
Yeah, I can do that from tomorrow, at least for 2-3 days. I'll be able to do it. Then I will be traveling. So yeah, then I'll be traveling. So somebody else can take.
Dhanyavad, Mrinaji. Yeah. Okay. If a person has a predominance of Sattva Guna, what will his expression be? Krishna answers in the next verse. शमोदमस्तप शौचं क्षान्तिरार्जवमेव च ज्ञानं विज्ञानमास्तिक्यं ब्रह्मकर्म स्वभावजम्. Shamah, composure, damah, restraint, tapas, religious discipline, Shaucham, inner and external cleanliness. Kshantihi, accommodation. Arjavam eva cha, and indeed straightforwardness. Jnanam, knowledge. Vijnanam, assimilated knowledge. Astikyam, accepting the veracity of the Vedas. Swabhavajam, born of nature. Brahma karma is the duty of Brahmana. Shamaha, damaha, tapas. Shaucham, kshantihi. Arjavam evacha, jnanam, vijnanam, astikyam, swabhavajam, brahma karma. Composure, restraint, religious discipline, inner and external cleanliness, accommodation, and indeed straightforwardness, knowledge, assimilated knowledge, and accepting the veracity of the Vedas is collectively the duty born of nature of a Brahmana. I repeat, composure, restraint, religious discipline, inner and external cleanliness, accommodation, and indeed straightforwardness, knowledge, assimilated knowledge, and accepting the veracity of the Vedas is collectively the duty born of nature of a Brahmana. The duties and disposition of a Brahmana. Notice there is no particular karma involved in this description, only a disposition guna. In the vision of the Shastra, everyone should become a Brahmana by quality. The Shastra's intent is not to define karmas, but to help a person grow. I read once again, there is a breaking of voice. The duties and disposition of a Brahmana. Notice that there is no particular karma involved in this description, only a disposition, guna. In the vision of the Shastra, everyone should become a Brahmana by quality. The Shastra's intent is not to define karmas, but to help a person grow. In its vision, as you will see, everybody should become a Brahmana in disposition by doing his or her own karma with a certain attitude. Later, Krishna will say that the one who just goes about happily doing what is to be done in his own situation becomes mature. Sve sve karmana karmanabhirartah samsiddhim labhate narah. That is I think from chapter 18, verse 45. Yeah. Dhanyavad, Sumaji. I'll just read from 45 verse. Which we read, I think. Sve sve karmanyabhiratah samsiddhim labhate narah swakarmaniratah siddhim yatha vindati tachrunu. Devoted each to his own duty, man attains perfection. How engaged in his own duty, he attains perfection. Listen.
Which shloka was that? 45?
Just a minute. No, I was reading the page. Yes, page the shloka 42 I read, but there was a mention, the keynote was there, so I just read that 45th shloka. which will come later. But right now we are reading 42nd verse. We are reading 42nd verse, and we have completed
Page?
Yeah, 254. You can 253, sorry. 253, you can read once again the last paragraph. Last two. 253.
My
I'm
page
sorry,
number?
you can. Yeah, 253 page number. Sorry, Sumaji, I'm really sorry to confuse. 253 page number.
My
Don't
page
look at the.
number
Yeah, just scroll a little down. Scroll little down, please. Please go 249, 250. Yeah, please go 251.
This is 42 verse. Okay.
Yes, verse
Okay.
42. You can read once again, it is good. The duties and disposition of a Brahmana. You can read once again the explanation, please. It is very beautiful. Yeah. Dhanyavad, Sumaji.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm a bit disorganized today. So the duties and disposition of a Brahmana. Notice that there is no particular karma involved in the description, only a disposition, a guna. In the vision of the Shastra, everyone should become a Brahmana by quality. Should become a Brahmana by quality. The Shastra's intent is not to define karmas, but to help a person grow. In its vision, as you will see, everybody should become a Brahmana in disposition by doing his or her own karma with a certain attitude. Later, Krishna will say that the one who just goes about happily doing what is to be done in his own situation becomes mature. Swe swe karmanya birataha. Swe swe karmanya birataha samsiddhim lapate naraha. Whatever karma is given to you by birth is good enough to make you mature. If that is what you want, if you want to make money or gain some power, you may have to change your situation to accomplish that. But if you want maturity, it is all available right where you are. You need not change your position or your profession in order to mature. Because when your aim is maturity, the development is all internal. Wow, this is very powerful. So it is getting maturity. That is the aim. So that's why what Chayana said is correct. Your Swadharma is your role and position as you are today. The Shruti offers a method to achieve this maturity. And that method, which is unfolded here, is universally effective. In personal growth, a given method may be effective for one person with a particular type of problem, but not for another. Here, however, we have something that is universally effective. Whatever you are called upon to do, you do, and do it with a proper attitude, offering it to Ishvara for your Antakarna Shuddhi. This is Karma Yoga, and the one who practices this, the Karma yogi, will mature because all his likes and dislikes, raga, dveshas, will come under his control, and he will be a Brahmana by disposition. What are the things he has to pay attention to in order to accomplish that? Those are enumerated in this verse under the name Brahma Karma. In this verse, Brahma Karma means that which belongs to a Brahmana, that which makes one a Brahmana. It is what he has to cultivate as a Brahmana, and all these are born of his disposition. Swabhavaja. So all this is born of his disposition, Swabhavaja. What are the things that constitute the disposition of a Brahmana? The first is Sama, which, as we have seen before, means mastery over the ways of one's thinking. Wow, so correct. Mastery over the ways of one's thinking. We have to gain enough space between our thinking patterns and our own understanding so that we do not get easily carried away by any particular emotion or fancy. If one enjoys that space, he has Sama. It is important to understand that
Shamyatam,
this,
Sumaji, it is Shama, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that Shama, Dhamma.
Shama. Is that correct? Shama. It is important to understand.
Yes.
Thank you. It is important to understand that this is not elimination of a process of thinking, which is neither necessary nor possible. Thinking goes on, but if one does not identify with the line of thought and can choose to act upon it or not, he enjoys what we call Shama. Okay. When one practices and enjoys that quality, it becomes his own disposition, Swabhava. I just like to read this. The first is Shama, which is, as we have seen before, means mastery over one's thinking, ways of one's thinking. Mastery over the ways of one's thinking. We have to gain enough space between our thinking patterns and our own understanding so that we do not get easily carried away by any particular emotion or fancy. If one enjoys that space, he has Shama. It is important to understand that this is not elimination of a process of thinking, which is neither necessary nor possible. Thinking goes on, but if one does not identify with the line of thought and can choose to act upon it or not, he enjoys what is called Shama. When one practices and enjoys that quality, it becomes his own disposition, Swabhava. So advanced course knowledge also, say over your mind. Similarly, Dhamma, correct. As we have seen, is exercising restraint with regard to impulses that need to be checked. And tapas, as was previously pointed out, is any religious discipline with reference to speaking, action, etc. Then cleanliness, saucha. Not only external but also internal is to be practiced. Internal saucha is neutralizing hatred and other painful emotions by bringing the opposite value or emotion to the mind. This is also to be practiced by a Brahmana. These are things that have to be done every day. Just as the body has to be cleaned every day, similarly, the mind also has to be kept clean. You cannot take saucha for granted. If there is hatred towards someone or something, You neutralize it by some kind of accommodation or understanding. Later, it can develop into love, friendliness, etc. But in the beginning, it is simple accommodation, understanding people as they are without wanting to change them or control them. Generally, we want the whole world to behave according to our own criteria. But if we really analyze those criteria, we find that we have to change ourselves first. Sometimes you may seem to have to be totally right, but then the other person is also right from the standpoint of his own disposition and background. He believes, he behaves the way he does because he cannot have behaved differently. If he could, he would. It is as simple as that. Even if you say he can behave differently, but he does not want to, well, his not wanting to behave differently is just another behavior pattern that is a product of his disposition and background. It is all included. You will find that if you let people be as they are, you can have peace. If you do not want peace, then worry about what others do. Arjuna, Arjava means an alignment between thought, word, and deed. All that you think need to be told, need not be told. All that you think need not be told. But what is told must be true to what you think, and what you do is exactly what you said you would. Shall I stop here? Want to have some manana? Everybody's quiet. Was I audible?
Yes, you were audible.
Yeah, I think we
Brahma
should
is-
stop. It's 6:29.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be able to play the Maya Panchakam?
I will have to go back to my. Let me see.
We'll do this.
Sumaji, I will do that. I will do that. Just give me 2 minutes. I will do. Yeah. Dhanyavad, Sumaji.
Sumaji, you can say the Shanti part if you want.
Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Brahmaraji, I was sharing, my dear. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, the audio was there briefly, but it's not there now. Never mind, doesn't matter. We'll let it be. We can play it tomorrow, no problem. Jai Gurudev.